The hangar and the trailer have been moved onto town property, no longer on Army Corps property. All of there was asbestos pipe that we had picked up, and the company that picked it up for free. They wrapped it and they disposed of it. We have Tom has the letter to show to Army Corps that that was disposed of properly.
That I do not have an answer for. Maybe Christine can answer that.
Yes, the letter that was received, and you had a copy in the last agenda packet, and it does say that we were given till May 2015. We agreed that it would be done by then. There was some of that dirt pile that was removed. We received this letter that told us we had until November 18th. I told Tom that he had till November 1st because I wanted to make sure that the people from Army Corps, there were 6 people that came out there. I wanted to make sure that they were satisfied with the work that was done because I was done getting these nasty grams from them. They were kind enough to come out and meet with Tom again, and he went over everything that was to be done. They were in complete agreement. The hill, 78 10-wheel dump truck loads of sand were taken from the highway department and taken down to the pit. The hangar and the trailer have been moved onto town property, no longer on Army Corps property. All of there was
Pile of sand that we needed to move from here to here. We got a company to come in and move the sand from here to here because we had a government agency requesting it. You know, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to like micromanage what the paper order is and, you know?
This has nothing to do with the department. This has to do with your mundane, everyday responsibilities. Your
I think
mundane,
we
everyday
have
responsibilities.
plenty on our plate in front of us on a weekly basis.
And it would have simply triggered the procedure within your own policies as to how to handle it. Had it been on
It
your-
was handled. It was less than $15,000, and the piece of equipment that we traded was less than $1,000.
We didn't, I never heard you say there was an estimate given to you, that you didn't have an estimate. You didn't know what it cost, or there was an estimate for what it was gonna cost.
Christine, do you have an approximation of what it cost?
no, but I had the discussion, Tom had the discussion with McCormish Excavating, and I said, it cannot be over $15,000, because if it is, we have to go out to bid. So it has to remain under that, and it's got to remain within Tom's budget.
When did this project start?
He met with them,
Years ago.
well, yes, it started years ago, and,
Well, no, we were
They had
notified
given-
in
they had-
January of 2015 that we
moved
No,
needed
but
to
years
use
when
it.
was the contract
one.
hired?
Mr. Chairman, while she's waiting for the contract type date and things like this, once again, a statement's been made with no documentation whatsoever to verify that this conversation ever even took place. And quite frankly, you know, I mean, you know, we don't, you know, it's like, do you think the government appoints people to positions because they're virtuous? No, they don't. And there's a real problem here when there's no documentation. We have a town administrator who is standing before us stating that she's had a conversation, a detailed conversation, and specifically states that it has to be under $15,000. But there's no written verification of that conversation. There's no detailed note that then is passed on to all of you so that you don't have to sit here and say, I don't know. And that's what's most important. I don't like hearing answers from my select board chairman that says, I don't know.
And we've been discussing.
The town administrator is here to answer to this board as we conduct the business of the town. That's what these meetings, the purpose of these meetings for. The public forum is for discussion from the public of things that aren't on the agenda. Considering I haven't heard anything from our town administrator or anybody else that this project did exceed $15,000 or the other item was over the amount of $50,000. Both were questions. We worked through this. For most of our decisions, we don't require written proof of conversations between the town administrator and the other departments.
Of course not.
She says it wasn't under over $15,000. That's not an item that we usually would decide on. She has the discretion to purchase it. But given the concern from the public, I'd like to not try to hash this all out right now where we haven't had time to research it and we have to answer without having the facts in front of us. Obviously, they've done a lot of research. I'd like to have the opportunity to read some of these things that they're presenting and maybe hear some more of the facts before we continue to discuss it. We can move on from the public forum and maybe
I've asked
put
a
this on the
question.
agenda for next time.
Which I have not received an answer to yet.
I have to look in the emails to see when I sent Tom the email to request him to do this. I've sent him a text message to say, asking exactly what date he started. But I'd have to look in my emails to tell you the answer to when I directed Tom to get this work done. The board directed the previous highway superintendent to get this done. They moved some sand, to which we thought was what made them happy, but there was additional items that were placed on the landing after the garage was burned, and we kept lots of parts from the old trucks down on the landing, and they were not happy with those. Because if you notice it in that letter, it says, as troubling as the sand piles are, the new and extensive collection of equipment and trash scattered over a wide area of federal land adds to our concern.
But we're just waiting for the sign off essentially. And it didn't exceed $15,000.
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you.
I mean,
So-
I told him it could not, and he said it would not. But I don't know the exact hours.
So, I understand, Tia, maybe you'd like some more information. I think maybe if we get an after a report once we find out the outcome. At this point, that might be the best way to go get a report.
That's for it to be continued on the agenda, next agenda, and I think we need a full report on this.
That's fine. I know that he's had a history of working for the town, and I've never heard of any issues with his work in the past, so. Anything else for the public forum?
I'd just like to add one more thing, and it's in regard to this in general. These people sit in this audience to hear what our elected officials are discussing. You have your private issues that you have to take out on the side, but the rest of it is the mundane, day-to-day activities. Always that I've known before within the community, the town administrator and you, so the chairman, select the agenda, and the agenda contains items that need action, items that need update. And that's when this community hears
processes.
And you're referring back to that, but at the time when it was ready to take action, it should have been a public item issue, so the community knew what was happening. There's people who have concerns about asbestos, but the most important part, that's what makes you look transparent. That's what makes the town say, I've got trust and faith in these people because they're willing to let us know what's going on. And there's no questions asked. You won't see people in here upset with these issues if you'll do that. So all I'm saying is please
We are
try harder.
assessing over $500.
We're not talking
It's a
about
policy,
that.
it's a policy, and you're
No,
trying to
it
reduce
is
it
not
to
a policy. It is not a policy, and I will defend the board, and I will defend the town's actions to the nth degree that what has transpired up here over the last couple of issues that we've been talking about, there's been nothing wrong.
The common denominator is not informing the public and not following your own policies. Not the dollar value, not $5, not $100. That makes it emotional. This is about following your own guidelines to make
Couldn't
the
disagree
public
with you
have
more.
trust in you.
I could not disagree with you
Well,
more.
the trust issue is your problem.
This board is not here to micromanage the town to the nth degree.
No, but the board is here to.
Excuse me, point of
the board
order.
is here to
You have not
make
been
sure
I'm
addressed.
that
not
the
talking to you,
chairman is
Bruce,
not
I'm
addressed.
talking to Ms.
the
Walsh.
board is designed to
I'm
make sure
talking
that
to
the
Cheryl.
documents are there.
I've said it, and I'll say it again. I have no problem with what's transpired here. None whatsoever. If you guys wanna make a change, have at it. But I have no problem if it was a $500 mule, a $1,000 mule, a $1,500 mule, or any of that stuff, or her hiring a company to move some sand around. I have no problem with what transpired. None whatsoever.
You have no problem that you were not given the correct information for due diligence on that piece of equipment. And you have
No.
no problem that the board was not notified publicly as a board that you were taking action on the Army Corps request and the potential cost. People will be responsible also.
So what I'm saying is it's all working.
That was all happening. And no one's questioning what worked, and no one's questioning what followed your own policies and procedures. We're just saying, please stay engaged. We need an engaged board,
You have it engaged.
but all things, please, that's all I'm asking.
You can't pretend to know everything.